Okay, Doc. I'm here in your laboratory. What is all this stuff?
Well, this is some of my inventions. You want to hear about which one first?
I don't care. Tell me whatever.
Okay, well,
What's this?
This is the Shock-O-Matic, of course.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with the Shock-O-Matic.
And this here will check your blood pressure.
This?
Yes. And this here is a combination. It will dehumidify the room, and this is my EMF meter. It'll check, see how much electricity is in your body. Hey, you win.
Nice. All right. This stuff is all fine and dandy, but what did you bring me here for? You told me that you've got some new invention, something new that you developed. What is it?
This is what I brought you here for.
What's that snake oil you got there?
This is no snake oil, Dr. Taryl Stein. This is my latest creation.
You brought me all the way out here to show me a jar of Gatorade?
See this push more here, Doctor?
Yeah, that thing hasn't started in like forever. The coil's dead. It'll never start.
Okay, Dr. Taryl Stein, give it a rip.
I think I'm wasting my time with this one. I can't believe it! That snake oil you concocted actually works! Do you know how much money we can make off of this?
It's still in its infancy stages. I have more testing to do. I don't know anything about the side effects.
Side effects? It's a lawnmower! It's not the space shuttle!
I have to go write down my findings. I'll be back in a jiffy.
Okay, take your time. Write slow. Well, looks like I won't be needing you anymore. He'll never know the difference. I got a new mechanic in a bottle, and this stuff actually works.
Hey there, little fella. Have you lost your owner? You don't look too well, Maybe you need a spark plug. Oh, don't be afraid, little buddy. I'm just gonna give you a new spark plug, Oh!
Pterodactyl here. In today's video, we're going to revisit the Wheelie Horse. And the reason we're revisiting the Wheelie Horse is because it's not done yet. It's a project that's in the works. It's a work in progress. So, my problem with the Wheelie Horse is when I can get it up on a wheelie, it seems like it's starving for fuel. Now, for you grass rats that follow the channel religiously, you know that I did other certain things, like I moved the fitting on the gas tank towards the back, so that way when I was on a wheelie, the fitting was up here, and I thought it was starving for fuel, so I moved it to the back, and it was still starving for fuel. So I figured it was probably the carburetor, the way the carburetor is situated on the engine. So I thought, yeah, it's got to be turned, because I'm thinking about motorcycles and dirt bikes, because I've had them for years. And when I would do wheelies on them, you know, they got a slide carburetor with a float bowl, and it sits this way. You know, the float bowl sits this way with you. So when you do a wheelie and the needle is in the back, they don't start for fuel, you know. Because remember Evel Knievel? He'd do wheelies. He would ride wheelies on a Sportster, a Harley Davidson Sportster. Isn't that crazy? Think about back in the day, Evel Knievel. What a great man he was. He would jump all those cars and all that stuff on a Harley Davidson Sportster. Oh, that guy was crazy incredible. It was crazy. But anyway, getting back to the wheelie horse. So I'm thinking I need to turn the carburetor because that's why it's starving for fuel. So I can keep it up on a wheelie. If I can keep the revs up, I can keep it on a wheelie and I can ride it longer. So this is what I did so far. I took the carburetor off and I turned it. Now in order to do that, you know, it had this insulator block up underneath here. So in order to do that, I had to make an adapter. So I made an adapter out of this piece of aluminum. This is like 1/4 inch thick by about 2.5, 3 inches wide. I wanted to make an adapter out of something lightweight. So here's the adapter I made right here, underneath here. So if you notice, this anti-backfire valve used to be over here, where this cutout is. So I done turn the carburetor. And then I had to relocate the bolts and stuff, but I was able to turn it. So I got the fuel pump and everything hooked up. I just need to hook up the choke, and I have to redo the throttle. So here's the choke cable. So I got to come up with a way of getting the throttle over here, the throttle cable. But first of all, I want to know if this is going to work. So one thing I can do in the meantime, before I work on the throttle, is here's the bracket here. And this was for the choke. This was the Brakes and Scrap 'em original choke, which had a linkage to it that ran to the choke here. Because remember, the carburetor was turned this way. This was over here. So this was over here, this part. So now I can probably just go like this to hook up the choke. Put my cable in there. And then there's the perch right here for this clamp. Oh, let me turn that around. So I could probably just do this. Now that's simple enough to fix that remedy. So then I can tighten this down. Now I know you're probably thinking, I wanted to see all the work and how you made that little manifold plate. Well, sometimes I do this stuff when the cameraman isn't here, and I don't know if it's going to work either a lot of times. So I don't want to waste a bunch of time and filming. So here, see? So I was able to use the old choke bracket here to re-hook up my choke. I'm thinking I might be able to also use this bracket to hook up the throttle. All right, so we got the choke in that hooked up. And again, here's that plate. Here's that manifold plate. All I did was turn the carburetor, cut that piece of plate. I had to pull this blower shroud off, pull the intake manifold off. I had to do a lot of grinding and fitting, but I was able to make a little adapter plate so I could turn the carburetor. Now, let's see. That's why I got this hooked up to my little lift here. Let's see if when I raise this thing up, let me get all these tools and stuff off of here. I'll have to put the battery back in because the battery was dead. But let's see if I raise this thing up into wheelie position. Because it's going to be up this high. And I think that's where my problem was. When the carburetor was turned this way, I think it was starving for fuel because the float now, the hinge of the float is back here, like on a motorcycle. The hinge of the float is in this area. This is a vent right here. So I think if I'm in this position and I can get it to throttle up, which I'm going to have to do by hand, I think it'll work. All right, let me lower it down. So I'm going to put the battery in, and I'm going to temporarily hook up a spring so when I start this thing, it's not running wide open. I need to hook up a spring back here. Plus, I want to, can you see that, Mr. Cameraman, in there? Let me get my light. Plus, if possible, I want to reuse this throttle linkage clip that's all molded into the throttle here. I don't want to have to try to drill that out or take that off. I kind of want to reuse that so when I make my throttle. So I'm going to have to put a lot of thought in how I'm going to put my throttle on here. And we're probably going to end up eliminating this big bracket here on this Vanguard that was originally for the throttle. I'm going to probably end up eliminating this whole bracket. But I don't know yet. I got to put a lot of thought into how I'm going to bring this throttle cable over here somewhere so I can throttle this thing. But for now, let's see if my little idea is going to work. So I'm going to hook up a spring temporarily and put the battery back in. Stay tuned, grass rats. Don't go away. We'll be right back. So this is the spring that I had for the original throttle that I had hooked up. So I just got it temporarily hooked up just to hold it at idle. So I could just come over here and rev it up by hand. And then the battery I had in there, which was a motorcycle battery. And I'm no better than anybody else. I didn't maintain that battery very well, and it took a crap. It won't hold a charge. So I got my little jumper pack hooked to it. I had it on charge, and of course it didn't come back to life. It's an AGM battery. I'll have to get a new one. My fault for not taking it out, properly storing it, just leaving it in the wheelie horse. You know why? Because I got so many projects with batteries in here. Probably take me a full day to take them all out. All right, let's start this thing up. Let's fire it up, fire it up, fire it up! Well, so far it's still running. All right, seems to work, what I thought. Now, another problem may be oil might be getting into this pulse line for the fuel pump. So let me take that off, because I noticed oil was shooting out of that breather. And since it's pumping so much oil up there, that may be another issue. And that's why it may not stay running, but it was running for a minute. As soon as I find a pair of pliers to pull that, there we go. Let's see if there's any oil in this pulse line. May have to go to a different fuel pump setup here. Well, seems to be dry. Let me pull this off here. So if there was oil getting in there, it'd be dripping out right now. But I just want to make sure. Nope. Can you see through there? Can you see my beautiful smile? So we're not getting any oil into here, because that has happened. That may be a problem. So think of that, grass rats. If you're working on some kind of project and you're trying to use one of these vacuum operated fuel pumps, it's got to be high enough on the crankcase so oil doesn't get into that pulse line, because then that'll block it, and if it can't get vacuumed, this thing isn't going to pump. And if that is a problem, you may have to go to an electric fuel pump. So that seems to work. So now I need to take this old choke bracket here and see if I can come up with a way of making a throttle so I can throttle it. And then after that, I need to get a battery too, but then we can see if I can hold a better wheelie on it. So this isn't going to be easy. I'm not going to sit there and, I didn't cuss. I'm not going to sit there and try to show you all my trials and errors of trying to make this work. Who knows? This may not work at all, and may turn the camera back on and I may have figured out some way of making it work off of this. But let me pop this bracket off. Luckily, I've got enough of these Vanguard engines, junk ones over the years, that I saved. That's why you got to save all this stuff. I've got a bunch of these brackets and stuff. So if I hack into one and I'm not successful, I can go out in the junkyard there where I got a bunch of junk engines and find me another one. So again, don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, I came up with a solution for the throttle, and it does work. So I took it back off so I could show you what I did. So here's the original bracket, and this was for the choke cable, and this was one that I pulled out of the junkyard that I modified. It's a little bit different than this one. It's from a different model, but it's basically the same. This was on there. As you can see, there was a little trial and error, a little couple things I tried that didn't work. And here's this bracket here, this thing that mounts here. I took off a junker out there, and I had cut these perches off of here, these cable perches. I cut them both off because I didn't know which one I was going to use. And I ended up coming up with this. So I had to scab in some other metal that was the same thickness. And I welded it on there. So now my throttle cable is going to come through here. And then this was the original linkage I had, which I had modified when I did the wheelie horse. In case you're interested, in case you're a new grass rat and you're not familiar with the wheelie horse, we have a series of videos on the building of this. So if you want to check those videos out, you'll see how I built this, how I took a 4-horse Corolla engine that was on here, and I put a different wheel horse transmission in this RJ. This is a 58 RJ wheelie horse, and how I had modified it to the wheelie horse. So this was the original linkage. It was about this long, and I had modified this one before I modified this one. So like I said, I wanted to reuse this, and I cut the end of this off here. This piece here is this piece here. And I had cut this off because I tried something else, it didn't work. Like I said, I spent probably 2 or 3 hours trying to figure this out. So now I got this. So the throttle cable is going to go through here. So where is that throttle cable? Here's the throttle cable. So I want to go ahead and put that there. And then I've got my snivvy, cable snivvy. I don't need this little washer anymore. Take that off. Oops. Now I lost it. Now it went into the 3rd dimension. I hate when that happens. Here it is. You ever do that? Drop something and you can't find it and it was landed right there? And it goes into the 3rd dimension or the 4th dimension, whatever you want to call it. Probably the 5th dimension. Remember them? Up and away in my wheelie horse balloon. That was a famous song by the 5th Dimension. All right, so we got that. I'm going to be able to reuse this spring that I used originally. And I'm going to use this shoulder bolt, which I saved. This is off some brakes and scrap 'em engine. This is got 6mm thread on it, just like the Vanguard does. So I'm going to use that for my spring. So I can tighten it down and I'm not tightening against this. All right. So here's my little link. Come over here, Mr. Cameraman. This link fits into there, if you know anything about these, and then this clips on. That's a locking clip. That's original. And then I'll take my spring and I'm going to hook my spring into the back of this link here. And then with my shoulder bolt, I'm going to put that here. Now I can tighten this down. Now I was revving the crap out of this thing, and I noticed, and you probably noticed too, there was a lot of fuel shooting out of here. That's because the valves are floating at those high revs. Now I got a high rev kit for this that I bought a few years back that I was going to install on this wheelie horse. Since we built the building and everything, I don't know where it's at. I got to find it. It's here somewhere. It was about $100. I better find it because it's like taking a $100 bill and just throwing it in the street. So I got to find that, and we're going to put that in there, and that should cut down on that fuel shooting out of there. But in order to do a wheelie, I'm not going to be revving it that high. So I shouldn't get a lot of fuel shooting out of there until I put that high rev kit in there. So here's my new bracket I made. This is for the choke cable. This is going to be for the throttle cable. That's going to go right there. Like I said, I test fitted everything and then I took it back off because we want to cut through a lot of filming showing me trying different things that's not working. And if you had to pay me to do this custom for you, this little modification for what I charge would probably end up costing you about $300 to $400. That's why I'm showing you how to do it. That's what this channel's about. Showing you how to do it. So you could do it yourself and save money. So I don't have to do it. You know why? Because I got enough to do. Alright, I gotta get over here. So yeah, all you gotta do is use your little noggin. You can figure a lot of this stuff out on your own. Because I remember back in the day, when they didn't have YouTube and stuff, I didn't have a YouTube. I didn't have nobody to show me how to do this stuff. I had to rely on older people who were smarter than me and ask them questions and look at stuff they had done. That's how we used to do it back in the day. Right? A lot of you old grass rats know this. We had no inner screen. We had no YouTube. All we had was books and magazines and other people to rely on. Watch what they did. Learn from them. Choke's hooked up. Let me get this through here. Where's my clamp for here? All right. We got enough tension on there. Let me tighten up that screw that holds that cable. Grab this back here. I'm going to end up taking this off. That'll give me some more room to get in here because we don't need it now. I should put a little wrench on the back, but I only need enough tension on this thing. Once you start to tighten that screw, it ain't going to pull through. There's not a lot of spring tension on there. I mean, there's enough for that size of the spring, but... All right, so we're at idle here. See, it's closed. Wow, 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 wow. What do you think, Ras? There's a little bit of play in that cable, which is what you want. Just like on a motorcycle. And we're getting full, wide open throttle. Yeah! What do you think, Ras? You like my ingenuity? All right, let's fire it up. Fire it up, fire it up, fire it up, fire it up. Again. Get all this crap off of here. Neutral, we got our choke. Squeaky. All right, well, as you can see, it's black as night out there. It was daylight about 4 hours ago, so it's too late for me to try this, so we're gonna have to try it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna take it out and we're gonna do some wheelies and see if my theories and everything actually work, if I can hold it on a wheelie better. We're gonna find out tomorrow. Bet you can't wait. Can't wait, can you? You're not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm probably not going to be able to sleep either. I'm probably going to be dreaming of doing wheelies. Well, let's hope I don't crash. Ooh. It's Halloween time. Scary out there. Scary monsters. Look at this monster. I built this monster. This is a scary monster. I need to find a battery to put in there. I can't do a wheelie with that thing on there. I have to pull a battery out of one of my other projects. We'll be right back. Well, I tested it out, but we didn't catch it on film because the cameraman had already left. But I went out and tried it, and it was a little better, but I'm going to take another run at this. I'm going to do some other modifications, and I'm going to go through what I think it is. So, this is a manifold off another Vanguard, 18 horse, same carburetor and everything. So this is how it was originally when it's bolted on the engine. And then I took it and turned it this way with this facing out. I turned it like this. Okay, and this is that adapter plate that I made out of that piece of aluminium. So the reason I turned it in the first place is I thought it wasn't getting enough fuel when I was up on a wheelie, even though this is where the main jet is. There's the main jet down there. And this is that anti-backfire valve. All this little solenoid does is supposed to keep it from backfiring when you shut it off. So when I had it like this, my thinking was that it wasn't getting enough fuel. That's why it kept dying out on me when I would get up in the air. So what I wanted to do was turn it like this. Now I can't, let me get this in there. I mean, I turned it like this. This is how I had it. I wanted to hinge in the back like on a motorcycle, like I explained earlier. And the reason I can't turn it like this way, with the float going this way, is because this is a vent. There's a vent right here. So if I was to be up on a wheelie, gas is going to start to come out of this vent. Now ideally, what I should use is a diaphragm carburetor, like they use on 2 cycles, chainsaws, weed eaters, because you can put it in any position. The only problem is, these type of carburetors, you got to have this hole here. This is to pick up crankcase pressure to make this pump. There's fuel pump gaskets in here. This is your fuel line, and this picks up air or pressure off the crankcase. So I would have to make a special adapter and have a hole in there. Here's a manifold from EC Performance. They make all kind of go-kart and high-performance parts for engines. This is a carburetor and manifold for a flathead brakes and scrap 'em 5-horse engine that they used to use. What do they call it? An animal engine. And if you look down the center here, there's that hole to pick up the crankcase vacuum and pressure to make the internal fuel pump on these type of carburetors pump. Then they would put this fitting in here, because for a go-kart application, the carburetor is sitting higher than the gas tank. So the gas tank's down here. The gas tank's not up here where it can be gravity fed. So this port is for a fitting to put a vacuum operated fuel pump on there. The same kind of fuel pump that's on the Wheelie Horse right now. That's what that port's for. Now, if, say, I was to use this on a mini bike, I could block that off if the gas tank is sitting above. I wouldn't need this. So ideally, that would be the carburetor to use. But like on motorcycles that have a float carburetor, and I can ride wheelies on them, they don't have diaphragm carburetors. So me and Elkskins were kind of talking about it, and Elkskins came up with a pretty good idea, which I agree with. He says, too bad you couldn't slant the carburetor like this. So that way when you're up in the air, it'll maintain the fuel towards it. I said, yeah, that's something to think about. But again, now I got to make a block, or I got to make an adapter to do that. So you see this plastic insulator block that I eliminated when I put this on here? So I took it, because I got a few of these, and I sanded it on a belt sander. So what I did is I took the manifold and I put it like this, and I marked it so I knew which way I had to slope it. Now if you try to do this, I don't know what this is made out of. If you're going to sand on this, I strongly advise you wear a dust mask. I put on an N95 mask, and then when I got done, I took my belt sander outside with the mask on, and I blew it all off and cleaned it, and I got the shop vac and I cleaned all around, because I don't know what this is, and I don't think it'd be too healthy to breathe that powder. So just be aware of that. So this is my thinking. And one other thing I did, while I was sanding it on the belt sander, I kind of leaned towards sanding more off of this side. So that way when it's mounted on here, it's tilted forward, and it's also tilted towards where I eliminated that anti-backfire valve. So it's going to be tilted like this and a little bit to this way. So the gas will run towards the main jet. Now, will this work? I don't know, but I'm going to try it. And another thing is, this carburetor has an adjustment on it for your low speed. I think this one's got one on it too, yeah. Now it had a limiting cap on there that had been popped off so you could adjust it. So it's kind of hard to get at now, so it's in the front, so I added this piece of tube to it so I could reach in there and I can adjust this. So now all I have to do is assemble this with a gasket. I got a gasket here. What did I do? Here it is. So I got a gasket here to go in between here. I've already got a gasket between my other manifold. I had to do a little drilling and grinding on here because I wanted the bolts. Since I'm angling it, I want the bolts to sit flat in there. Otherwise, they would have sat like that had I not ground this material away. I wanted it to. And I had to cut these bolts down, and I had to grind around the edge a little bit. But that's where I'm at. So I'm going to put this all on, put it all back together. We're going to go out and do some wheelies, see if my theory had improved it. And if it did, I found that high rev kit that I bought. Then I'm going to install that. So if you're not familiar, this also came from EC Performance. This is what the kit entails. You got 4 new caps and keepers. And what they want you to do is put these spacers underneath the valve springs. So you put that on the head, you put the valve spring on, the cap, and the keepers. And they give you 2 steel push rods to eliminate the aluminium push rods that are in there. There's 1 steel and 1 aluminium push rod on these Vanguards. And they put the aluminium one on the exhaust side. I don't know why, but on the intakes, they've got the aluminium push rod on the intake side. Now you would think it would be on the intake side because the exhaust side gets hotter, and you would think that heat, with that being aluminium, would make it expand faster. So I don't know why they do it one way on one model engine and why they do it a different way on another model engine. But this is the kit. And then they give you, because the Vanguard uses a Woodruff key, they give you an offset key to advance the timing a little bit. But you got to use this kit with a stock cam. So the key would go in there like this. So you're clocking the flywheel clockwise. So the keyway in the flywheel is you want to be able to turn it this way, clockwise. So this is how the key would go in. It wouldn't go in like this, because now you're retarding the timing. You want to advance it a little bit. So let's see if my little theory works here, and if it does, then I'm going to install this kit. I'm not going to show the grass rats me installing the kit, because it's quite involved and it would make a super long video. This one's already going to be long enough as it is. But it's pretty simple. Take the spark plugs out, take the piston down a little bit, shove a bunch of rope in the spark plug hole, and then turn the crankshaft so the piston pushes against the rope, and that rope with the piston pushing against it will hold the valves in place. And then these Vanguard springs are real lightweight. You don't need a valve compressor in that. I could just push down with my fingers on that valve spring and then take a little magnet and get those keepers out of there and put the washers on and put it back on. There's not a lot of spring tension on there. That's why they got that little spacer, to add a little more spring tension to keep the valves from floating. So it must work because they sell these things. So we'll find out. Maybe we can eliminate some of that gas when we're high revving it shooting out of the carburetor. So let me go ahead and put this all together and put it back together, and we'll go do some wheelies. Let's do some wheelies. here it is all installed, and you can see it's at an angle. That's why I put a level on there. So to give you an idea where level is now, it's about right there is where it's level. Plus, like I said, I pitched it this way some. So that would be, if it was fully level, that's where it would be. So hopefully this is going to help. If not, then I'll be finding a diaphragm carburetor and making a manifold. So let's take it out and do some wheelies. Well, still sputtering some. Working better. I had to open up that carburetor, but now I'm getting into the revs and it's shooting gas out. So let's put that high rev kit in. Woo! Wheelie horse. Okay, I've already installed this side of the high rev kit. As you can see down here, I got that piece of recoil rope in there. And then the piston is pushing against it. So that way, the valve doesn't move much. Now, like I said, there's not a lot of spring tension on here. So I got me a magnet. See how easy you just push down on it? And you can get those keepers out. Now, of course, the cap, is different. This is the new one that comes in the kit. This looks like it's just stamped steel, where this is more, well, like a powdered metal, it almost looks like. So then you take the spring off, and then I'm going to clean out the oil from here, where that shim washer goes. Now I wish they made like a heavier spring for this instead of putting the shims in, but for this 18 horse they don't. I know they make heavier springs for the higher horsepower Vanguards, but not for this 18. So you just drop that shim washer on there, down in the bottom, and put the spring on. And then you got your new keepers. So I just like to stick one in there like that. See, and then it locks in. like I said, pretty simple installation. Now I'm going to have to stand up for this. You may need a little screwdriver. I can push down on this. Nope. That's what we don't want it to jump out of there on us. Where's my magnet at? So I gotta have a magnet on a stick. I'll just lay it in there. Should be able, if I push down on it enough, it should drop in. There we go. There we go, see? Now it's in. Now, of course, you're gonna put your rockers back on. Here's that aluminum push rod. That's usually on the exhaust side that you're replacing with the steel one. And you put your rocker arm back on. And then you're going to want to check your valve clearance again. Between here. Here's your adjuster right here. So you're going to want 4 thousandths in there. So I've already got the other side done. So we're almost done. I just got to put this back together now. And there's your dinner. Well, there you have it, grass rats. I got it all back together. And one other little modification I made. About a year ago when I was at one of them tractor shows, fellow grass rat and Taryl fan, Dooley and Nathan, you know Dooley, he's the one that gave me the Power King.
Why do you not have a Power King?
Because I haven't come across one yet.
I got 5 for sale, Taryl. I got 5 for sale.
Yeah, but they're all done already.
No. I got a few that's not. It'll be right up your alley. I'll donate it. That's donation on video. I will donate a Power King if you do it on your channel. And just mention my name and Nathan's name.
Now I'm getting a Power King. He suggested maybe adding some weight to the wheelie bar. So I thought, you know what, that's a good idea. That might help. So this was left over from the Snow Kitty build. I had these cutoffs. So I welded this on the back. It's 16.5 pounds. Now I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make, but hey, it might help tremendously. I don't know. So we're going to go out and try it. See what happens. Well, it helped, but I just blew the belt, and that was the last belt I had. But yeah, all those modifications seem to have helped. Let's get this thing back in the shop and round out this video. Yeah, these are some cheap belts that I had laying around. They don't seem to hold up too good. I've got some more on order. I thought I had ordered some for this, but I guess not. Well, there you have it, grass rats. The wheelie horse, a work in progress. For you grass rats out there that are just getting familiar with the channel, there's a whole series of videos on this build. And we'll give you the little thing up there to click on to take you to these videos. So you can watch how we've built this over the years. It's still a work in progress. I'd still like to get it to stay up on a wheelie a lot longer until I want it to come down. But hey, that's what happens when you build custom stuff. You gotta kind of work around it, figure out what it's gonna take. But we're getting there, we're getting close. Well, now there's some grass rats that I'd like to thank with their help on this project. They gave me some good ideas. And one of them again is Dooley and Nathan. We're talking about adding some weight to the back. And fellow grass rat and friend Scott Carter, he's the one that makes those frame repair kits for those Husqvarna tractors. He helped me with the design of the wheelie bar, because I never built a wheelie bar before. So he gave me some good ideas and tips. And I'd also like to thank my good friend, country music superstar Chris Stapleton, because when he saw me building this, that's when he wrote that song, that new song he's got, Wheelie Horse. You know how that one goes? If you want a cowboy on a wheelie horse, riding off into the sunset, is that the kind of mower that you're looking for? Hold on, grass rat, I ain't done yet. No, I ain't done yet. Wheelie horse. Chris Stapleton wrote that song for me. Hi, Chris. Wheelie horse. Well, grass rats, there you have it again. We got this wheelie horse work in progress. So if you like this YouTube channel and you're a new fan, a new grass rat, because we need some new grass rats, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow me on your wheelie horses, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check out our web store. We got all kinds of stuff there. There might be something there for you, like this ring tee or ringer t-shirt I'm wearing. And we also have Grass Rat's Garage Wheelie Horse t-shirt. That's the popular one. You need to get that one. Hats, all kinds of stuff. Check it out. There's something there for you. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! If you want a cowboy on a wheelie horse, riding off into the sunset, is that the kind of mower you're looking for? Hold on, grass rat, I ain't done yet. Wheelie horse. Of course, Chris sings it a lot better than I do. I can't believe it! That snake oil you concocted actually works!
What? I can't believe Dr. Taryl would do this to me. What a scumbag. I'd expect this from Ronnie, not Dr. Taryl. Oh no! I was afraid something like this might happen. I hope nothing's happened to Dr. Taryl.
The snake oil that Doc Neon concocted really worked great on that push mower. Let's see how it works on this old chainsaw. What's that? Is that thing running by itself? That thing is autonomous. This stuff is amazing. Whoa, take it easy.
sounds like Dr. Taryl. I think I'm gonna need this.
Doc! Doc! You gotta help me! You gotta save me! Your snake oil's trying to kill me!
I'll save you, Dr. Taryl.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Doc. Thank you.
Don't mention it, Dr. Taryl. I knew my field treatment was going to have some side effects. That's why I got to go back and perfect it. I've got to record my findings. Dr. Taryl, did you notice any side effects when the mower tried to attack you?
Oh, yeah. There were plenty of side effects. It had more than normal power. It had erratic high revving, excessive gambling, and compulsive whine.
Okay, good, Dr. Taryl. What else?
Oh, yeah. There was another one I almost forgot. It had extreme flatulence. And one other thing. It wants to kill you!
Okay, that's good to know. I'll try to iron out those side effects for the next batch.